Hey everybody, it's Warren and Julie, and we have a mailbag question today from our Facebook group that we think some of you guys might relate with, and we want to get you guys to give some input as well. But we're going to read a very interesting dilemma that a couple have that are living in the United States and they want to retire abroad. And in a quick nutshell, she is 58, he's 72, and they're looking at trying to retire on very minimal and moving abroad in a traveling lifestyle. And they don't have much saved.
So we're going to give you what we think.
Yeah, so we're going to review this email, or this actually it's a message on our Facebook group. If you want to chime in on your 2 cents on this, not only can you leave a comment below, but you can go to our Facebook group, Warren Julie Travel, and find us there. And you can make your own comment to this person as well and give your 2 cents. And don't forget to join the group while you're there, of course.
And at the end, we're going to tell you whether or not we would actually do this ourselves.
Let's go over what was sent to us in Facebook.
My husband, 72 years old, I'm 58. We're Americans who have strong wanderlust. Husband has never traveled outside the United States. I've been to China and Mexico. We want to travel and see the world together while we are still physically able to do so. Husband recently beat prostate cancer. We're reminded life is short. Our dream is to sell everything we own and slow travel the world, which we would have to do on a tight budget. We work full time, him as an RN in a doctor's office and me as an executive assistant. Neither of these jobs can be done remotely. We both make decent money, 140 per year total, but we're tired of the grind. My husband's collecting a full Social Security of $3,000 USD per month. That is the only income we won't lose when we leave our careers. We have 100,000 combined in our retirement accounts, not nearly enough, and we have about another 100,000 of equity in our house if we decide to sell it. If we rent it out, we stand to bring an additional 400 to 800 per month. If we took off to travel, we would invest our retirement accounts and home sale proceeds, then use the small 4 to 5% dividends to help cover our expenses. Another concern is the cost of catastrophic health insurance. My husband will have Medicare coverage when stateside. We've spoken with 2 different financial advisors, both of whom have told us to stay put and make the best out of our 2 to 4 weeks per year of vacation time. This news is not sitting well with us, but we want to hear from some of you who are doing it. Our option A, keep working, save up, and travel as we can afford it. Estimated income level, $10,000 monthly. Duration, travel 2 to 4 weeks per year. Keep our house, live in it as long as possible, and budget $4,000 to $5,000 a month for living expenses while abroad, plus cost of living in the United States. Option B, we go all in and commit long term. Minimum income, $3,000 USD monthly, plus investment dividends, plus YT earnings. Duration, probably 3 months out of US, then 1 to 2 months stateside. Sell the house to help cover travel costs, invest $100,000 proceeds. Buy a $50,000 RV for travel and lodging when we're in the US. Budget $4,000 to $5,000 per month for living expenses and traveling abroad. And YouTube, establish and grow a travel channel for income and to document our travel. I have the tech skills needed. Option C, we rent out the house, earn an additional $400 to $800 US per month. Duration is 8 to 10 years of travel or until physically able. Our questions: what would you do in this situation? Is it worth the financial risk? What would you do when you can no longer travel without being a burden to your family? Where would you start your travels? Have any of you decided to live out of your home country permanently despite having family there? If so, where did you decide to make your new home and why?
There are some pros and cons that this person listed for each of these options. You can go see what she put down for her pros and cons in our Facebook group and see the entirety here. But first off, let me talk about the YouTube channel. She is looking at potentially trying to start a YouTube channel to go over travel and living abroad and believing that's going to make money. We've been doing this for almost 5 years. We're an outlier. We're a success story. We have 31,000 subscribers. We have 3 million views of our videos as we travel around. We're actually in Slovenia right now. We travel full time. And I had a person ask me, "Hey Warren, you're too young to retire. What are you gonna do with your free time?" So I said, I'm gonna do a YouTube channel to fill time as a hobby. Hobbies, keyword. It's not wasn't about making money, and it's time consuming.
Very.
And so we looked at the numbers from the time we started the channel, from believing that we wanted to do this right before we retired and leading up to our retirement in March of 2020. So about almost 5 years, we've made $16,054 as of this morning on that YouTube channel that has well over 300 videos. And you probably look at least 10 hours of work in each of those videos, if not more, on average. A lot of videoing goes on that never even makes it into a video. We've got a backlog of videos to work on. So we don't do it at all for the money. It's, even at this point, we are making somewhere between $500 and $1,000 a month, depending on how many views come into watch our videos and watching a commercial. So if you get a commercial in this video, that helps out to give us a little bit of money. But this isn't about us. It's about the reality of doing a YouTube channel. Very few get to the point to even get monetized.
And it's getting oversaturated. There are so many people. I'm going to start a channel. So.
Yeah. So do not believe at all that that's going to be a way to make money. So let's talk about what they have. They have $3,000 in Social Security a month coming in, and he's 72. She's 58. Okay, she's 58 years old. She does not qualify for Social Security. They've got $200,000 potentially in assets, assuming they sell their home for what they believe they're going to have. So $200,000 total. My personal belief, and I'm not going to say her financial advisors are wrong, but we know a lot of people living around the globe on far less than $3,000 a month as a couple, and so single people doing $2,000 a month. So we know that it's achievable. However, he's 72, and I don't want to sound grim, but if he dies, which there's a realistic possibility of this, and she is 59, 60, she's not Social Security age, and she is going to be watching that Social Security money disappear. And so using the $200,000 for additional dividends income that she's thinking about at 4%, 3 or 4% dividends, giving $6,000 or $8,000 extra a year, no, don't do that yet. What I'm going to say is, if you wanted to live abroad, first off, income-wise, you need to live only on that $3,000, because you need to put that $200,000 into something that's going to maximize the growth, so that your $200,000 will be there in its entirety, if not in a greater amount. Because if your husband dies, you will only have that money coming in unless you have another income stream coming. And so trying to live on that basically dividends is not going to be great, and that money won't grow as fast as far as what you have there in your nest egg. So dividends are a great strategy once you are basically looking to live on that ongoing. But that's going to give you a $6,000 to $8,000 income. I'd rather see you put that money aside, let it grow. So maybe it will be $300,000 by the time you need to pull it, and then you can pull $12,000 a year, potentially pulling 4% out.
Agreed.
So, and you need that to bridge you to Social Security. So even if he dies, and let's say you're at 60 years old, you want to feasibly get to be 67 to get full Social Security. So if you now had $250,000 because you weren't out there doing the dividends at that time, you can start doing dividends then, but you're still going to draw it down. And that should be enough if you're, some people, we see them living on $1,500, $2,000 a month, especially a single person in some countries. You can then maybe bridge yourself to where you get to the full Social Security age as well.
Right.
So consider how you want to bridge yourself to Social Security, whether or not you want to go to 67 or start Social Security at 62, and see about whether or not you qualify to take over your husband's Social Security amount or yours, whichever is greater. A lot of different questions there. Julie did put the link for the Social Security stuff into the Facebook comment section, so go look at the link to the Social Security stuff there. But we're not going to pretend to be financial advisors. We're just going to tell you our experiences and the experiences of many people we've interviewed and how they've lived. And that's not to say that they will be as successful.
No. And I want to say that, you could try and do pet and house sitting to stretch that money per month. So there are ways. You talked about YouTube. Let's digress for a moment. The thing is that we could say that you could hone your skills to become a digital nomad, and you're an executive assistant, so use that.
Yeah, if you're needing additional income, don't waste your time on YouTube. It's going to take you way too long, and you may not ever see anything come of it.
Absolutely.
Use that valuable time you're an executive assistant. You've got all kinds of clerical skills, I'm sure, knowing how to do spreadsheets. Writing things out. There's opportunities out there that will pay you better than what you're going to get from Social Security, or from not Social Security, from YouTube in the first year or two, second year or third year probably, and you can build up your resume and portfolio of work. So try to work part-time as a digital nomad using the skills you have. Don't go into YouTube believing you are going to make money at it.
And let's talk about cost of living and low-cost destinations. So, low-cost destinations such as Ecuador. Right now, there's a little iffiness on Ecuador with safety. Let's talk about Southeast Asia. We don't have a lot of knowledge on Southeast Asia, but we can tell you many of our friends have been there, many of them have lived there, and they've lived inexpensively.
Well, look, they're interested in their medical needs too. So let's just clear the whole slate of countries real quickly, and let's talk about where they can actually maybe get residency and whether or not medical insurance is something they need, because it's going to be pricey, especially at his age. And so as an insurance agent, and I actually make more money from the insurance license I have with international medical insurance than I do from YouTube. So this is this is the income maker as far as I'm concerned on doing my YouTube channel, is that it gives exposure to helping people with their international medical insurance, but not everybody has that background. So I will tell you 72-year-olds are going to be more expensive, and you're going to be on a limited income. So my advice is, if you're going to move forward with moving overseas, go to a country, get residency with one that actually has a national health system that you could become part of. And so we were brainstorming this morning about whether or not France, that we spoke about recently, is an option, Romania, Serbia, Ecuador, to name 4 that we were bouncing around as, well, will this work for them? Well, France, you might barely qualify under these situations of getting into the door to be able to join and get into France. And I think with the limited income, it's not going to be a comfortable life. And so we're not going to recommend France in your situation as a place to go, because it's just going to be way too tight on $3,000 a month. And we don't know if you'll qualify with that bare minimum threshold.
The 100,000 may end up putting them over being able to, because they can show it, but it has to be liquid.
Yeah. So I'm going to steer away from France. Ecuador, we liked Ecuador a lot when we were there, and we have plenty of people down there that are enjoying a low cost of living. That's feasible and possible, but we've had shaky responses back on safety. We've had some people say it's safe, there's no big deal there. We've had other people tell us that it's not the Ecuador that we were in, and to be wary of it. So we are just going to stay neutral and out of it. Turkey is off of our list of countries to recommend currently. There's a lot of other things, and I don't want to make this a whole list of thing about countries, but we're down to what we think are the best 2 options are going to be Serbia and Romania as a location for them to bounce to and potentially get residency and become part of the health system to have the health coverage. And then what I would say is only have the, in your particular situation, you might only want to carry private health insurance till you're part of the health system. If you can swing it, then continue on with private health insurance. But at least you'll have medical coverage in these countries. So we want you to watch our Serbia residency video and our Romania residency video. Serbia has a lower cost of living. So if you go to Novi Sad, which was a city we liked a lot, very safe, has a lot going on there, beautiful old town, low cost of living. Novi Sad could be a good landing spot. You can potentially get in there with residency. We don't have a double taxation treaty with Serbia. However, they are not taxing Social Security and pensions at this point, and they have no intention to. And they're supposedly working on a double taxation treaty.
Right.
Secondly, now, if we go to Romania, you can open up a corporation in Romania and get residency, but don't think of this as like you're working there. However, since we do recommend that the young lady at 58 decides that she should maybe do some work, maybe she wants to wrap this into the corporation, but it's a small amount that needs to be paid in taxes to keep this corporation going. And in return, you will get your national health system coverage. And then eventually you can work towards a permanent residency. And
those are big options there.
And it gives you Schengen access for travel.
I want to go into life realities real quickly. You know, your husband has not traveled outside the United States. There's culture shock everywhere. Also, you two probably haven't lived together 24/7. Not every couple can live together 24/7. And in a lot of these situations, you live smaller and with less size, less everything. So can you live in 50 square meters or 555 square feet? And additionally, let's talk about how Airbnbs and other accommodations have risen sharply, exponentially. 40+% in some cases, and we're seeing it worse and worse, and summers are very difficult.
Yeah, and this is I guess also goes back to why I think you guys having a residency in a location is better, because then you could do a long-term rent.
Agreed.
And why maybe you're not going to be traveling the full time, you feasibly can, but I'm just trying to set you up with having the national health system coverage scenario. You can get a low amount pay low amount monthly for rent if you're in Romania or Serbia, but you can still leave for 5 or 6 months a year or whatever if you would like to, and go explore Europe and drive around, go to Montenegro, go to Croatia, go to Bulgaria. And if you're in Romania, you have Schengen access where you can flutter all over, and flying in and out of Europe is cheap.
Now, they are talking about wanting to go back to the United States quite often, it sounds like, because they have mentions about an RV, etc. Those are expensive flights, so you better have a good cushion of, ready for that. And where are you staying when you get back to the United States? Because you really shouldn't go spend $50,000 of that money on an RV, in our opinions.
Yeah.
That's just wasted cash sitting there. And certainly don't put anything in storage. And then we need to talk about whether or not you would sell your house or not, because that was one of their big things.
Yeah, so that's going to be a decision for you. We don't know your situation to where you reside, where your property is. It sounds as though from what you put into the message in our Facebook group that income was going to be limited there, and that maybe you derive $100,000 from that. Maybe it's okay for you to keep that there and let that money build in a nest egg. Continue to live enough your just $3,000 and save your $400 to $800 a month. Maybe you'll clear on rent. Put that aside in case there's repairs needed. If the area is appreciating, then that's your nest egg for the future. Instead of putting it in stocks, you hold on to your real estate. But yes, that does open up a can of worms if you need to replace the roof, if you have situations going on with renters. So there's no perfect solution, but maybe you just hold on to your property and you just continue to see the rents increase hopefully every year, and that you can build that nest egg of money to fall back on if your husband does pass away. Realistically, look at Julie's 7 years younger than me almost. I'm gonna die before her. More than likely, women outlive men. And so she's probably got 15 years of living without me. So I try what I can to set her up to have a comfortable life, because I assume I will be going a decade plus before her. And so that's something that needs to be done. That's something you both in this scenario need to consider, is what happens to the spouse. And because I am going to assume that the husband will pass before the wife. It's just
Statistically.
unfortunately, statistically, unless you're dealing with a car accident or something.
So off of that grim topic, let's get to the fact. Would I do this? I'm going to speak for myself here. Would I consider taking this on, being the younger spouse? Yes, I would. But why would I? Number one, I know I can live abroad. I can live overseas. I've done it. And I can integrate into society, and I can be comfortable in the Balkans. I can be comfortable in many parts of the world. Someone who has never or rarely set foot outside of the U.S., I can't tell you if I would do that or, tell them to do that or not.
Yeah.
I can say that I know how to live frugally. I could do it.
Yeah, and there was another red flag that was put into the Facebook, but it was a longer post, so please go to our Facebook group and read the whole post if you like. But there was a lot of pros and cons for the different scenarios listed. And one of the pros on one of the scenarios was that it gives them a chance to build their credit score. That's a red flag for me, that if you're worried about your credit score, about your ability or the ability to financially manage things. I mean, maybe you've got things under control. We don't know the scenario that might have you worried about your credit score and trying to raise it. But you're going to need to be fiscally responsible and staying within that $3,000 budget and not going over. You don't want to draw down your nest egg, because you need that nest egg to build, because that's going to be your bridge to the young lady in this scenario to get to eventual Social Security retirement.
Right.
And so we don't want to see you burning through that. And then if you were living on that $200,000, you're going to have to be fiscally responsible with that as well. And I feel okay with saying, okay, you've got $200,000 of potential asset there, and we see a lot of people living on $24,000 equivalent now. So if you wanted to stretch that out to get to 8 years, assuming you make no interest and nothing grows on that, that gets you at least from being 58 to 66 and getting to your own Social Security. So that's kind of a another way to look at it. You've got money to bridge you to your retirement at Social Security, almost to your full Social Security.
So would you do it?
Look, here's the thing. You live once. You only have so many days, so many sunrises and sunsets. And as as I've gotten older, I mean, I saw this coming when I was younger, but I want to enjoy my days. So would I rather work to have a lot of things in the United States and a big house and a new car, or would I like to have every day to do with what I want from the time I wake up to the time I go to sleep and have freedom, but maybe living in a smaller location? I mean, as we travel in our Airbnbs, a lot of times we've gotten used to living in 40, 50 square meters, which is about 400 or 500 square feet, where in the States we used to have 3,000, 4,000 square foot homes, which would be, for our European audience, approximately 300 to 400 square meters. So we've gotten used to being more downsized. If you're coming from the scenario you're talking about, not having done a lot of traveling, especially the husband hasn't done much traveling, are you going to be comfortable in a 400 or 500 square foot lifestyle?
Right. And for frugal flights, for the cheap flights, you're going to be limited to baggage. So you're not going to be able to have a ton of possessions with you. And, so there are so many things to think about. But I believe I certainly would move forward. But that's me. But I would move forward very carefully and with a lot of thought.
And I would, but I'm not your financial advisor. And I know my capabilities of managing funds and monies. I would say that we're living completely on our, more or less, our investments at this point in the YouTube money and the stuff that comes from other sources. But we have a good lifestyle, and we typically come in under $3,000 a month, and we're not even trying, and that's not our budget. So we can go much, much higher, but that just happens to be what we live.
But we're not going back to the United States a lot either, and that's expensive.
No, and our insurance on us for medical purposes is approximately $250 a month for $1 million of coverage and a $2,500 deductible on the two of us. But I'm 56, she's almost 50, so we are at a different age bracket, so the insurance is not going to be as high as when I'm 72. And so different scenarios for different folks. What do you guys think about this. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not claiming to be anybody's financial advisor, but this is our experiences. We've interviewed a lot of expats, so if you're new to our channel, please subscribe. Go to our channel, look at all of the expat interviews we've done, see what their lifestyles are like, and we hope you're going to follow along.
And join our house swap group as well.
Yeah, we do have a new Facebook group for house swapping, but importantly, if you've got questions of your own, go to our Facebook group, put in your scenarios, your needs, ask our community of nomads and expats for their knowledge and their opinions, and share your adventures, your photos as well. So again, go to Warren Julie Travel, look us up on our Facebook group, and be part of our community. And so again, subscribe, give the video a like, and until next time, have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.
Ciao.